alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hey folks, it's another experimental walking podcast, partially because I'm just low on time this week, and partially because I want to tell you guys that I, of course, Tim Niederreiter, the host of this podcast, in case this is your first episode, which I really don't recommend, I'm on my way. Oh, there's wind. Ah, shit. Well, regardless, on my way down to my office. I walk it, so I'm talking. And it's pretty balmy here for Minnesota, but it's crunch time again, I guess. I don't like crunch time. I don't think I should have to do it. As in, I should have planned ahead better and been more effective earlier. But as it is, I have to write like 10,000 words a day now, which is totally doable. Even typing, even when I'm going half the rate I used to go and dictating, or even less, like a third on average, I think, per hour, it's still very possible to do 10 or 12,000 words a day for me. And that's what I'm on, because I have to get this book written, edited, and shipped off for the pre-order by the 31st. And I'm not rushing so much as I'm just putting in more hours each day. And that's a different thing. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of people out there who don't know much about, well, who may have an opinion about writing that's different from mine, of course. And a lot of those people are indeed of the opinion, well, I know I've met a lot of people with the opinion that you can't speed up creativity. And that's not really what I'm trying to do, honestly. I mean, I have had some attempts to speed up my creative process. But really what I'm doing is just doing more in less time, or in rather spending more time in a shorter time frame overall. Which to me isn't rushing it. And I've done it before. I've done, 50,000 words in a week before. This week I only have to do 36,000 more. Had a big day yesterday. And I'm recording this on Tuesday, of course. You'll hear it tomorrow on Wednesday, so hopefully I'll have another 10,000 in the bank or so by then. But yeah, Well Country, I'm very excited about it. I've gotten to the point of the book where I'm really ramping toward a big climax. And honestly, if I just figured all this out earlier, this is the part I couldn't rush, apparently, or I didn't speed up enough. If I'd just gone earlier, gone harder on the product production earlier in the process, I would have been done by now, for one thing, but also it would have been a lot more fun earlier. Because even though I enjoy this book, and I've been saying that for a while now, I really do enjoy the book, there's a certain amount of fatigue that comes from me when I'm writing a series. And this is only my third book in the series. This is my first real series to get to 3 books. Series of novels. The other ones were novellas. With only one novel and a whole series of 4. 3 or 4, whatever, depending on how you count them. So, yeah, I mean, but Well Country, it's kind of a new thing for me. And it's always tough to do the new thing. I mean, it's always a little bit different. Even when it's the same series, it's the same kind of book. And I'm trying to kind of write, not a payoff because the series isn't going to be over after this book, but kind of ramp. Takes us to a new phase of the series. Kind of, even though I don't necessarily want to draw this comparison, kind of Marvel-esque. This would be the end of phase 1. And the rest of the books will be going in a slightly different direction. Yep. So there's no real way around the issue I'm having, which is I need to get better at writing series. I need to be more intense and intentional about writing long-running books and series of books, of course, because more titles is better, and if I'm to meet the goal I set to this year on the Go Indie Now podcast, write 12 books, publish 11, or is it, publish 12, write 11, something like that. Can't even remember. Well, I'll do 12 of each, hopefully, at least that. Because I think I'm finally getting the process back into play. And as long as I don't have big empty gaps like I do most years, where I don't write much at all, I should be able to do 10 or 12 books easily after the ones I've already got on pre-order. I mean, there's nothing easy about it, but simply, let's put it that way. I'm not sure what the series after I do Forces of Empire Book 2 is going to be, because I will probably keep bouncing around a little bit, or at least I'll find a third series to work in for a little while. Part of me kind of wants to do Temple Theater, which I read the prologue of a while ago on this podcast as part of a group of my own writing, a cluster of my own writing I read on the show. And Temple Theater, I mean, I have 50,000 words, but that's not a whole lot when you consider I want to write 3 or 4 books in that series, at least, before I take a break from it. So yeah, that's going to be my next goal, is to just kind of churn out a series for the year, if not more than one. It would have to be something I'm really excited about, though, so there's a bunch of other ideas I'm interested in pursuing. I mean, I have so many ideas and so many book covers, and it's hard to put things in perspective here, but, for example, I make book covers for practice, right? I make my own book covers. And as a way of practicing, I've made a lot of book covers. Probably more than I'll ever need by raw numbers now. But I'll keep getting better at it, so it's good to keep practicing. I'm so sorry about the wind. Anyway, nothing I can do about it, except maybe recording doors. Anyway, the overall number of I think I call them kind of acceptable covers that I think could be good on a book. At this point, I have over 200 of them across various series. And most of those series have 3 or 4. And, I mean, some have like 40, but, whatever. One of them is like 40. And a few others have like 10 or 15. But the vast majority of this is just saying, well, I mean, the math is pretty apparent. There's at least 30 series in there. 20 or 30, right? Just across the shorter series. And I really do want to knock some of those out, because most of those books aren't written. Let me be clear here. I made covers just for practice because I needed to get better at it. Still do. And the issue I have now is I feel like I should write books for all this series I've created in cover form. But that's also false, because many of those series barely have a concept to them, but most of them do. Most of them have a pretty good concept, actually, which is what sparks the desire to build the covers. Use those as practice or whatever. And the creation of those covers, though, makes me kind of like, if the covers are really good, I really want to do this series, I'd really like to see these in print or on ebook, e-print, whatever. That's what I really usually mean. And there's just no way I can do all of those, especially in the time frame. Hopefully by the time I'm actually making enough money, I'll either be way better at covers and have to rebuild these. After 20 or 30 books, I'll hopefully be able to rebuild these covers or buy new ones, for these series. If they're working fine, maybe I won't, because they're so much cheaper this way, but you get the idea. I mean, I don't want to break the bank on book covers. I've talked about this a bunch of times with other people, like Katie Solitis and other folks, or Joe Compton, that I try to avoid sinking too much into the cover design. I think the most I've spent on a book cover lately is like $45, because I commissioned a piece of art that I then edited onto the cover for shadow prints. That was well worth it, but I don't think, that price has gone up since I did it, because I I was kind of a portfolio builder for this artist that I found, and now he prices way more. Yeah. Regardless, original art, it's expensive for good reason. And, you know, I mean, by perspective, most of my book covers cost less than $1 because I use subscription stuff to get images, get stock images. I use Photoshop, which I guess I haven't been counting that as part of the cost, but it's there. And it allows me to make tons of covers. Then I use things like Artbreeder and other sites like that with a lot of modification to make them practical and recognizable in a lot of cases to make the covers themselves. Anyway, this is not the book cover show, but I'm just so distracted by it because for a long time, it was the most novel thing I could do was make a book cover. I mean, novel as in new to me. And it really did distract me for 2 or 3 years there from writing books as fast as I could because I made so many book covers. I mean, I have 200 finished book covers. They're decent. But then I also have probably 400 or 500 that are not decent, that are pretty bad. And even though book covers don't take that long to make compared to books, at least for me, they don't take hundreds of hours. They take maybe 5. That's still a lot of time investment if you look at it that way. Or say 5 for a series. So we'll say, yeah, that's probably more like it because the series often is really easy to add books to once I have all the typography down and stuff. It's not like I started from scratch every book in the series. That would be tough. That would take a lot more time. Whew. But yeah, it's a lot of books. And I'm almost to the office, so I'm going to probably sign off soon here. Thanks for listening, folks. I'm Tim Niederreiter. I write novels, fantasy, and science fiction. You can find them over on the website. Really, no, you can't find them much on the website. You can find most of those at you can find most of those at timniederreiter.com, spelled like need a writer. You can find this podcast at mentalcellarpublications.com. And you can find my other books on Amazon.com under Tim Niederreiter. Thanks for listening, folks. Have a good week. I'll talk to you again Sunday when I come back with a guest. Have a good one. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
That tears it.